Hi students, this is Aisha and I am third year MBBS student. Today we are going to discuss about digestion and absorption, which is a major and important unit in zoology from human physiology. So first, let us discuss briefly about the digestion and absorption. Okay? First of all, the food we take in, what are the major components of the food we take in? Those are carbohydrates from which we get energy, and proteins from which muscle building process take place, fats and vitamin and mineral. So what is digestion? Digestion is the process in which the complex food will be broken down into simple and absorbable forms by the process of mechanical, matlab churning, and biochemical, chemicals like salivary amylases, all the enzymes process. Okay, that is mechanical and biochemical method. This process is known as digestion. Why this complex food is broken down into simple absorbable forms? Because biomacromolecules cannot be utilized in original form. So let me tell a brief thing which is not mentioned in NCERT, just for a knowledge purpose. Here carbohydrate, the complex compound is polysaccharide. Polysaccharide by the process of digestion will be broken down into monosaccharides like lactose, glucose, fructose. And fats, matlab lipids, triglycerides will be broken down into di, mono and finally to glycerol and fatty acids. And proteins will be broken down and form amino acids. All these monosaccharides, means simple absorbable forms, will be poured into the bloodstream and it will be absorbed in the tissue. Okay, so this is about the brief thing about digestion and absorption. Let us go in deep. Okay, first thing is alimentary canal. Okay, let us know the physiology of digestion. Okay, parts of digestive system and digestive tract. First one is, what is the anterior opening of the alimentary canal? That is mouth. Anterior opening is the mouth. You can just see in yourself also when I'm saying it. Okay, that is mouth, and the mouth leads to oral cavity or buccal cavity. Just check, in buccal cavity you can find teeth and muscular tongue. Okay, so here teeth in the sense, this here you can see heterodont, typhiodont, thecodont. Thecodont means tooth is embedded in the socket. Okay, typhiodont, in the name itself, typhiodont means 2 times. Okay, like you know that in childhood you will be having milk teeth or deciduous teeth, and later on it will fall off and then permanent teeth will be formed. Milk teeth are 20 in number and permanent teeth are 32 in number. Okay, and next heterodont. Heterodont means different type of teeth, like 2 and 2, 3. I think everybody is familiar with this. Means incisors, canines, premolars and molars. Means different type of teeth are present. That's why it is heterodont. Okay, and next one is buccal cavity. From buccal cavity, what is the passage of digestive system? That is pharynx. Pharynx, I think you all know, pharynx is a common passage for food and air. Food and air means, food means esophagus and air means trachea. Okay, trachea. You can see here, this is buccal cavity, this is pharynx. Here pharynx continues as esophagus. You might be confusing which pipe is in the front and which pipe is in the back, right? Food pipe is always behind the trachea. You can feel the tracheal rings over your neck. That means trachea is in the front and esophagus is in the back side. Okay, you can see this is a nose nasal cavity, which leads to, you can see here is a common thing. From nose you can see buccal cavity and nasal cavity, pharynx is a common passage, and that leads to esophagus, and here it is trachea. And you can see some flap cartilaginous structure that is called epiglottis. Epiglottis, I will tell you the function of epiglottis here only. Now, for example, you are eating the food and suddenly you will be coughing it. Because why? What's the reason? I will tell you it. When you are eating it and if you are talking it, the main function of epiglottis is whenever the food enters into the buccal cavity, it will go into the pharynx and it will go into the esophagus. At that time, the epiglottis is there, the cartilaginous flap that will be closing here so that there will be easy passage of food into the esophagus. When you are talking, this cartilaginous flap will not close, okay? That's why the food will enter into trachea and you will be coughing it, okay? That's why don't talk while eating or don't laugh, okay? So next one is the parts. See, anterior opening mouth, then buccal cavity, then pharynx, then esophagus, and esophagus is a thin and long tube, okay? And next one is the J shape. See, J shape stomach. And let me tell you briefly about the stomach also. So later on in the next slides you will feel easy. These are the parts of the stomach. Here it is the fundus, and it is cardiac. This is a body, and this is pyloric part, okay? That's why here the sphincter between the stomach and the small intestine is pyloric sphincter, and between esophagus and stomach the sphincter is gastroesophageal sphincter, okay? Gastroesophageal sphincter. So okay, we are done till stomach. Now let us go to intestine. Intestines two. First one is small intestine and then large intestine. In small intestine, three parts are there. First one is duodenum, which is C-shaped, you can see. And next is jejunum and then ileum. This is jejunum and this is ileum. Ileum is highly coiled, okay? Ileum leads to, ileum, after ileum, it goes to large intestine. The large intestine part is cecum. This is cecum. This is a blind sac, small blind sac, which hoist symbiotic microorganisms, okay? Here near the cecum you can find this thing. This is vermiform appendix. It is a vestigial organ, okay? So large intestine, here there will be a valve, that is ileocecal valve, so that the feces will be there now. It will, when it goes near the cecum, then there should not be re-entry of it into the ileum. That's why the valve will be closed after entry of the feces into the cecum. And in large intestine you can find cecum and colon. Colon is ascending, transverse, descending. This is sigmoid, okay? And cecum, colon, and this is rectum, and this is the anus. Anus is a posterior opening. Anterior opening is the mouth and posterior opening is the anus. I think you are all clear about the alimentary canal. Next we will go to buccal cavity. Now just imagine yourself, okay? Mouth and then buccal cavity. In buccal cavity, teeth is present. As I explained earlier, thecodont. Tooth is embedded in a socket, okay? And diphyodont diphyodont means milk teeth, that is deciduous teeth, 20 in number. 2, 1, 2, 3. Premolars are absent and third molar is not present. That's why what will be the number? 2102 by 2102. Okay, so if you count, the total number of teeth will be 20. Actually, what is the dentition? Here you can see the dentition, 2123 by 2123. This is just in the upper jaw. This is the lower jaw. Imagine this is upper jaw and this is lower jaw, and half, it will be divided into half. Here also 2123 will be there, 2123. Okay, if you remember, if you remove this 2, because premolars will not be present, 0, and here third molar will not be present, that's why 2. And if you count 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 10, 15, 20. So like the 20 deciduous teeth. And permanent teeth, if you calculate 2, 1, 2, 3, then you will get 22 teeth. That's why diphyodont. And next, heterodont means, I already told you, different type of teeth are present. That is incisors, canines, premolar and molar. So this is a dental formula. Never forget it. 2, 1, 2, 3. Each half of the upper and lower jaw. And next one, actually the teeth is very simple. And you can see teeth has a hard chewing surface. That is called enamel. Enamel, what is the function of the teeth? First of all, it helps in mastication of the food, for biting it and breaking into smaller pieces, right? That's why teeth has a hard chewing surface that helps in mastication of the food. Okay, now let us go forward to tongue. First of all, tongue is freely movable. Of course, tongue is freely movable. That is why we are talking. And it is a muscular organ, means skeleton organ. Okay, and tongue, see, tongue is attached to the floor of the oral cavity. If it is not attached, then it will come out, right? That is why tongue is attached to the floor of the oral cavity. By what structure? That is frenulum. Okay, and on the surface of the tongue you can find a projections. These projections are known as papillae, and papillae has taste buds. So that's why if you eat whenever, at that time you can taste the food, whether it is salty, bitter, sweet. Okay, we are done with the teeth, tongue, and then oral cavity means that these include tongue and teeth. Oral cavity leads to pharynx. I already told you pharynx is a common passage for food and air. That is, food means esophagus, air means trachea. And I also told you about the epiglottis. Epiglottis is a cartilaginous flap, okay, that prevents the entry of food into trachea by closing the epiglottis on the entry of the trachea. Okay, and next one is, you just think, oral cavity, pharynx, and next esophagus. Esophagus, thin, long tube, and next is stomach, J shape. I already told you this thing. That is this is the stomach, and these are the parts. This is fundus, cardiac. This is cardiac. This is body, and this is pylorus. And here the pylorus part is there. That's why pyloric sphincter. And this is gastro. Gastro means stomach. Esophageal means esophagus. Gastroesophageal sphincter. And stomach ho gaya. And then small intestine. This is C-shaped duodenum. This is jejunum. This is ileum. You have to remember one thing. In jejunum, maximum digestion will occur. After digestion, what's left? Absorption, right? In ileum, maximum absorption. Okay. And next is cecum. I already told you, it is a blind sac, small blind sac. Okay, host symbiotic microbes. This is vermiform appendix. This is vestigial organ, no use, and still it will cause appendicitis. Okay, and it is, you can see, it is a narrow and a finger-like and tube-like. Okay, narrow, finger-like, tubular. That is vermiform appendix. So we are done with the parts, okay, parts of the alimentary canal. Now let us go. We saw the parts of the alimentary canal, but let us know the layers of the alimentary canal. Just cut any section of the alimentary canal, either stomach, small intestine, anything. You will find 4 layers, okay. You will find 4 layers. Those are serosa, muscularis, submucosa and mucosa. You can see this is serosa, outer layer. This is muscularis. This is submucosa and this is mucosa. Okay. Serosa. What is serosa? Serosa is the outermost layer and it is made up of mesothelium. Thin mesothelium and connective tissues are present. And muscularis. Muscularis means muscles. Smooth muscles are present. Okay. Smooth muscles are present. Yeah, you can see this is outer longitudinal and inner circular. Always remember, muscularis, outer longitudinal and inner circular. And then you have to remember one more point, that is in stomach extramuscularis layer will be there, that is inner to circular oblique muscle layer will be there. Okay, in stomach oblique layer in the stomach is present. And next one is submucosa. Submucosa also made up of loose connective tissues as serosa, and in addition to that, nerves, blood vessels and lymph vessels are present in submucosa. And next, mucosa. Mucosa is important because it is the innermost layer, and in innermost layer you have to remember mucosa will be different in different organs. See, in stomach you can see it will form rugae type, that means irregular folds it will form. For churning and absorption it will form rugae, irregular folds in the stomach. Whereas in small intestine, what it does, it forms villi for absorption. I already told small intestine maximum absorption, no, that's why it forms villi like structure, that is small finger like folding. Okay, mucosa will form like this. And next one is, you have to remember, we just discussed about the mucosa in the stomach and small intestine, whereas in submucosa of the duodenum, we can find glands. Those are Brunner's gland. It is most important. Brunner's gland is present in the submucosa of the duodenum. Usually glands will be present in the mucosa, but in duodenum gland is present in the submucosa. Okay, that is called Brunner's gland. Still we are not yet completed with the mucosa. We just discussed mucosa, how it will be in stomach and in small intestine, but mucosa contains goblet cells also, which secrete mucus. Now it is the innermost layer, right? So that's why it secretes mucus for lubrication of the food, for easy passage. And it also contains a gland. Mucosa contains glands, like in stomach it has gastric glands, means it produces gastric secretions and helps in digestion. And in intestine we find crypt of Libercan at the basis of the villi. What did we learn in intestine? It forms a villi structure, right? Villi will be like this. At the basis of the villi, crypt of Libercan will be found. That's what they are saying. Intestine, that is a gland. Crypt of Libercan at the basis of the villi. Now I will show you in the diagrammatic form. So this is a section of small intestine. In small intestine only villi are present, right? This is the villi. Okay, this is the crypts of Libercan. See, crypts, and this is artery. It supplies blood and it gives oxygen and get deoxygenated. And this is a vein. These are the capillaries interconnecting, and this is yellow color you can see now, that is lacteal, that is lymph vessel. Okay, so here few more things you have to know. These are the basic things only. Everything from NCERT line to line I have written in this 21 slides. Okay, when you will read this nicely, easily NCERT will become easy. So here I have already told you, this is the villi. In villi, at the basis of the villi, crypts of Libercan is present, right? So one more modification is there. On villi, numerous projections are there. See, brush border appearance, numerous projections are there. That is called microvilli. Okay, what it does, normally it increases more surface area. For absorption it is taking so many modifications. First it formed villi and still it wanted absorption, that's why it formed microvilli. Okay, now here villi supplied by, you can see villi is supplied by network of capillaries are there, and lymph vessel is there. Capillaries and lymph vessel. Okay, that is called lacteal. So this is all about the alimentary canal of the digestive system. you got to know each and every part of the digestive alimentary canal of the digestive system, and cross section also you got to know 4 layers: serosa, muscularis, submucosa and mucosa. Now we are going to learn about digestive glands. Digestive glands are so easy. There are 3 digestive glands. Okay, first one is salivary gland, and next is liver, and next pancreas. First, salivary glands, 3 pairs are there. So total 6 glands are there. Okay. First one is parotid gland. Parotid gland is present near the cheek. And next one is submandibular or submaxillary, which is present to the lower jaw. Okay. And next one is sublingual, that is below the tongue. So parotid, submandibular and sublingual. Another important thing which you have to remember is these salivary glands are not present inside the buccal cavity. Okay, these are present outside the buccal cavity. Okay, see, cheek, below tongue, these are the outside the buccal cavity, but the secretions like salivary juice will be secreted into buccal cavity. We are done with the salivary glands, 3 pairs and their names, and they are present outside the buccal cavity but secretions into the buccal cavity. Now liver, we all know liver is the largest gland and its weight is 1.2 to 1.5 kg, and its anatomical position is, it is situated in the abdominal cavity, of course, below the diaphragm. Below diaphragm it is present. Okay. Next one is liver has 2 lobes. You can see here liver has 2 lobes, and in liver you can see these are the hepatic lobules. Hepatic lobules you all know from childhood. Hepatic lobules are the structural and functional unit of liver. Okay, and here a few things, it is very simple. Hepatic lobules, inside hepatic lobules there are hepatic cells. You can see hepatic cells, and they are arranged as a cord form. See, like this cord form contains hepatic cells arranged in the form of cords, and this hepatic lobule is covered by Glissen's capsule. Okay, Glissen's capsule, that is a thin connective sheath, thin connective tissue sheath, that is called Glissen's capsule. Just this is the anatomy of the liver we have explained. Okay, now this is so simple. Okay, we are discussing about the digestive glands in that liver, and now see, easily I have mentioned also the process step by step. Now liver will secrete the bile. Okay, for example, you imagine this as a liver. This actually, the position of the liver is here only, and the secretions from the liver will be coming through the ducts. Okay, ducts from liver. Bile from the hepatic cells. From the hepatic cells, bile will be passing through hepatic ducts, and bile will be going into the gallbladder. Gallbladder is a very thin and muscular organ. Okay, not organ, thin and muscular sac. Okay, bile is stored and concentrated also. Bile is stored and concentrated. Bile is stored and concentrated in the gallbladder. Now look at the passage, it is so easy. Okay, this is the gallbladder and it forms a duct. This is cystic duct. Through cystic duct, the bile will enter here, and from the ducts of the liver, that is hepatic ducts, hepatic duct form these 2, right hepatic duct, left hepatic duct, forms common hepatic duct. Common hepatic duct and cystic duct from the gallbladder forms, both contains bile only, no, that's a common bile duct. Common bile duct, and then this is pancreas. Pancreas has a pancreatic duct. This common bile duct and pancreatic duct commonly forms hepatopancreatic duct. This is pancreatic duct, hepatopancreatic duct. and this will open into the C-shaped duodenum. Okay, and here also one sphincter is there which is guarding. Okay, that is sphincter of Oddi. This is so important, which prevents, now secretions are entered into the duodenum. Further, it should not go back into the pancreas. That's why sphincter will be present here between the duodenum and the hepatopancreatic duct. That is called sphincter of Oddi. Okay. So we learned about the structure of the liver, everything anatomical thing, and next passage of the bile. Now let us discuss little bit about the pancreas, which are mentioned exactly every line to line. NCERT lines I have pasted here. Okay, and I have mentioned little only. Pancreas is a elongated, you can see it is a elongated, and it is a compound gland. What is meant by compound gland? Means it is both exocrine and endocrine. Endocrine means ductless gland. Okay, ductless, that's why ended, no more thing. Okay, ductless gland, that's why endocrine gland. That's why it will directly release the hormones, insulin and glucagon. Okay, exocrine gland means duct gland. Okay, so what it releases the pancreatic juice. Pancreatic juice is alkaline. Why it is alkaline? Because here is the stomach, from stomach duodenum, right? Here acidic pH will be there. Just to neutralize the pH in the duodenum, pancreas will produce alkaline pancreatic juice which contains enzymes. Okay, in pancreas two types of cells will be there, acini and islet of Langerhans. Islet of Langerhans are ductless, that's why they will produce hormones, insulin and glucagon. And acini, what they produce are duct glands, right? That's why they will produce enzymes, pancreatic juice. Pancreas are situated between the limbs of, see this is one limb and the limb, it is situated between duodenum. That's what it is. Okay, so we are done with the digestive gland, salivary gland done, liver done and pancreas done. Now let us go forward. We learnt about the digestive tract and the salivary glands, and now digestion of the food, ultimate process. It is very simple. Okay, see, digestion of food, digestion is how it is accompanied. I told you in the beginning only, that is mechanical process and chemical process. Mechanical means churning, chemical means enzymatic action. Okay, now next one, buccal cavity. What is the function of the buccal cavity? Buccal cavity, what it does, it has teeth and tongue. What it helps in? Mastication of the food, breakdown of the food. After breaking down, what does it do? It facilitates the swallowing or deglutition. Okay, this is the function of the buccal cavity. See, they are telling here teeth, tongue and saliva also. They help in mastication of the food and mix thoroughly. Mucus in the saliva. In saliva, mucus will be present. Okay, this mucus in the saliva, that lubricates, it lubricates and adhere the masticated particle. The particles which are masticated by the teeth will be lubricated by the mucus of the saliva, and the food will form, means the food will be known as bolus. Now the bolus from the buccal cavity, it passes to pharynx and next esophagus by deglutition. Okay, further it will be passed down. From esophagus, deglutition won't happen. From mouth to pharynx, deglutition, that is swallowing. Next, pharynx to esophagus, esophagus to further down. How it is how the bolus will be going? By successive waves of muscular contraction. Muscle, the esophagus is a muscular pipe, a thin long pipe, right? So muscular contractions will be happening because it has a muscularis layer now. So successive waves of muscular contraction, that is peristalsis. Okay. Next one is now esophagus, it moves down, and next what is the part, that is stomach, right? The between the stomach and esophagus there is a sphincter, right? That is gastroesophageal sphincter, control the passage of food into the stomach. Yeah. And next, now let us come to the actual digestion of the process. Okay, first this is just the overview. I have said how the food will be passing down, what are the see, deglutition, peristalsis, bolus, masticated food, all this help, teeth, tongue, saliva, etc. Now in mouth, actually saliva plays an important role. Saliva contains an electrolyte, that is sodium, chloride, potassium and bicarbonate, and enzymes like salivary amylase. This is most important. Only salivary amylase. Amylase means breaking down of carbohydrate. And lysozyme. Lysozyme is an antibacterial agent which prevent infection. Lysozyme is an antibacterial agent which prevent infection. That is why in saliva lysozyme will be there. See, main thing in the mouth, only carbohydrate breakdown starts. Okay. See, starch 30% only. Salivary amylase at pH 6.8. You have to remember the pH. In the mouth it is 6.8. Starch will be broken down into disaccharide. Okay, poly into disaccharide. That is maltose. Remember this thing. Chemical process of digestion. See, chemical process, this is chemical only, no enzymes, I told you before. Chemical process of digestion initiated in the oral cavity by hydrolytic action. Hydrolytic action means breakdown through water. Okay, how? By carbohydrate splitting enzyme. This enzyme is splitting the carbohydrate chains only. No, that's why carbohydrate splitting enzyme, that is salivary amylase. This is what happens in the mouth. Only carbohydrate breakdown starts and lysozyme is present, which is antibacterial agent. Now let us go to the stomach. Okay. In the stomach, see, mucosa, I told you earlier, in the stomach mucosa will form a gastric glands, right, which release the gastric secretions. For example, think that this is stomach and this is mucosal layer. So it forms gastric glands. Okay, gastric glands have 3 type of cells. First one is mucous neck cell. Mucous neck cell present near the neck in the beginning. It secretes the mucus. Next one, remember, oxyntic cells and parietal cells. Oxyntic and parietal cells, they release HCl and intrinsic factor. Intrinsic factor helps in absorption of vitamin B12. Okay. And last type is peptic and chief cell. Peptic and chief cell, in the name itself, peptic, pepsinogen is released. Pepsinogen is a proenzyme. Okay, it is not active enzyme, inactive enzyme. So quickly tell, in the mucosa gastric glands are present and it has 3 type of cells. Those are mucous neck cells, secrete mucus, parietal and oxyntic cells, HCl, intrinsic factor. Intrinsic factor helps in absorption of vitamin B12, and peptic cells and chief cells, peptic in the sense, pepsinogen will be released. Okay, this is, I think you all know, stomach store food for 4 to 5 hours. Okay, now you can see food, the masticated bolus and gastric juice and churning movement, keep on churning with its muscular wall. See, stomach has muscle layer, of course, that is smooth muscle layer. So food, gastric juice, churning movement produces chyme. Food become chyme, bolus will become chyme in the stomach. So these are the see, pepsinogen is released, no, in the mouth. Carbohydrate breakdown starts, 30% of starch, pH is 6.8 pH. Now in stomach, Pepsinogen means protein breakdown will start. Pepsinogen in the presence of HCl. See, parietal and oxyntic cell will release HCl. HCl and pH is 1.8. In the mouth it is 6.8. In the stomach is 1.8. Pepsinogen is a proenzyme. In the help of HCl, pepsin is formed. Pepsin is a proteolytic enzyme of the stomach. Okay, proteolytic enzyme of the stomach. Now this pepsin is formed. No, proteins will be broken into peptones and proteases in the presence of pepsin. Okay, quickly tell once again. Pepsinogen is released by peptic cells of chief cells. This pepsinogen is a proenzyme. In the presence of HCl and pH 1.8, it produces pepsin. Pepsinogen into pepsin. It is a proteolytic enzyme. Pepsin in the presence of protein will be broken into peptones and proteases. Okay. This is about still stomach thing. These are just brief thing. Main you have to remember that protein breakdown occurs. Okay. See, this is also important only. Mucus and bicarbonate ions in the gastric juice. HCl will be so much, it is acidic, right? To neutralize that, in gastric juice, mucus will be there and bicarbonate ions will be there. That helps in first lubrication of the food. Mucus will help in lubrication of the food and protection of mucosal epithelium from excoriation by HCl. Two functions. Okay. Gastric juice contain mucus and bicarbonate, lubrication and protection from mucosal epithelium from excoriation by HCl. Next, what else will be there in gastric juice? Renin will be there. Renin will be released. It is also a proteolytic enzyme in the gastric juice of infants. Renin. See, remember this. R-E-N-N-I-N. Renin. Two N's will be there. Just think that it is a stomach is a single organ, right? That's why opposite to that two N's will be there. Whereas kidney is two organs, right? So in kidney it will be only one N, renin. Okay, one N renin into, just remember the opposite thing. So it is a renin is used in digestion of the milk proteins in infants, remember. And lipases are also present in the gastric glands. Tell quickly what are present in the gastric juice. Pepsinogen is there, protein breakdown, and mucus and bicarbonates for lubrication and protection of epithelium from HCl. And renin will be there. Renin for proteolytic enzymes in the gastric juice for digestion of milk proteins, and lipases are present. Okay. Now various movements generated by muscularis layer of the small intestine. Now we came to small intestine thing. Up to here the stomach has done. Okay. Now various movements generated by the muscularis layer of the small intestine, mixing of the food and secretion in the intestine helps in digestion. The same thing, muscularis layer movements, food and secretions, digestion. Okay. Now see, bile from the liver and pancreatic juice from the pancreas and intestinal juice from the duodenum released in the small intestine. Okay, from three secretions are released in the small intestine, that is bile from liver and pancreatic juice from the pancreas and intestinal juice from small duodenum are released in the intestine. Pancreatic and bile juice, how they are, I already told you previously, pancreatic juice and bile juice both will be released into the duodenum by hepatopancreatic duct. See, hepatopancreatic duct. Now we are done with the secretion, we are done with the mastication in the food, mouth, then stomach. Now it's our time to discuss about the pancreatic juices. Pancreatic juice and bile juice are released in the small intestine, but these are the enzymes are different. Okay, intestinal enzymes are different, pancreatic juice enzymes are different. First, pancreatic juice enzyme work will happen. Okay, remember, in the mouth mastication, carbohydrate splitting will happen, and in the stomach that is protein, lipases, renin, bicarbonate and mucus. And in pancreas, trypsinogen, this is also for protein, okay, trypsinogen, chymotrypsinogen, procarboxypeptidase. And amylase, see, carbohydrate, lipase, nuclease, everything are present in, matlab breakdown occurs in the by the pancreatic juice. By the pancreatic juice, all breakdowns will occur. That is protein, trypsinogen, chymotrypsinogen, procarboxypeptidase, and amylase, carbohydrate, lipase, that is lipid, and nuclease, that is nucleic acid. Okay. So first, trypsinogen in pancreatic juice, trypsinogen in gastric, pepsinogen. Here trypsinogen. Trypsinogen, this pancreatic juice and bile juice will be released in the small intestine, right? In small intestine, there is a enterokinase enzyme. From the intestinal mucosa, it will be released, enterokinase. It will break down trypsinogen to trypsin. Trypsin is a activated enzyme. Now trypsin will take all the activity. This trypsin will activate trypsin itself, and breakdown of the protein will occur. Trypsin will act on the chymotrypsinogen and protein breakdown occurs. Trypsin will act on procarboxypeptidase and protein breakdown occurs. Okay, this will become an active enzyme by the presence of enterokinase, that is the intestinal mucosa. So this is about pancreatic juice. Now bile. Bile is simple. No enzymes are present. No enzymes means no breakdown of any component of the food. It just has bile pigments, that is bilirubin and biliverdin, and bile salts are present. Cholesterol and phospholipid is present. Okay. What is the function of the bile? First of all, that is emulsification of the fat. Means big fat molecule will be broken down into very small micelles. Okay. Bile also activates the lipases. See, bile has no enzymes, no breakdown occurs, but lipases little bit it will be do. Okay, little bit action will be there. But in pancreatic juice, all type of breakdown, that is protein, carbohydrate, lipid, nucleic acid, that is nuclease, lipase, amylase, and trypsinogen, chymotrypsinogen, procarboxypeptidase. Now, intestinal mucosa, same kids. In intestinal mucosa also, goblet cells are present. Goblet cells means mucus will be secreted, and brush border cells will also be there along with the intestinal mucosa. Goblet cells, see, intestinal mucosa, brush border secretions will be there, and goblet cells are also will be there. These are the goblet cells, and these are the brush border cells. From brush border cells, secretions will be released. Those are succus entericus. That is intestinal juice. Okay. This is all about the pancreatic juice and bile juice. Now, see, don't get scared. This is so simple and easy. So first we will learn about the pancreatic juice breakdowns. Once again, let us recall quickly, students. First, in the mouth, carbohydrate 30% starch splitting will occur, and in the stomach, proteins splitting, lipases little bit, bicarbonate and mucosa to maintain, lubricate, and also to protect the mucosa from HCl, and renin will be released. And in stomach over, mouth over, buccal cavity over. Now next is pancreas. Pancreas have trypsin, chymotrypsin, carboxypeptidase means protein. Next carbohydrate, for carbohydrate amylase is there. For fats lipase is there. For nucleic acid nuclease is there. So trypsin, chymotrypsin and carboxypeptidase, what it breaks? New proteins will be broken down, and the already broken proteins from gastric juice, that is peptones and proteases. You remember? Wait. Peptones and proteases from stomach. Okay. Peptones and proteases from stomach, and proteins from new proteins that will be broken down into dipeptides and polysaccharides remaining 70%. See, in stomach no carbohydrate will be broken down, 30% in the mouth, and in pancreatic juice 70%. In the presence of amylase, disaccharides will be formed. Okay, not like complete digestion it's happening. See, just little bit, proteins, peptones, proteases to dipeptides, polysaccharides to disaccharide, fats to diglycerides and monoglycerides, nucleic acid to nucleases. In the presence of nucleases, nucleotides and nucleosides. This is what you have to remember for pancreatic juices. This intestinal juices I will tell you after this. Okay, this is succus entericus. I already told you, from the brush border cells of the small intestine, succus entericus, that is intestinal juice, will be released. In intestinal juice, what are the enzymes? Disaccharide, dipeptidase, lipase, nucleosidase. So here also dipeptidase. What were in the pancreatic enzymes? Trypsinogen, chymotrypsinogen, procarboxypeptidase. Here dipeptidase, because in pancreas you can see proteins will be broken down into dipeptides. Now for dipeptides the intestine should break, no, that's why intestinal enzyme should break, that's why dipeptidase. Lipase, you know, as usual, and carbohydrates also not amylase, because see, polysaccharides are broken down into disaccharides. Now disaccharides should be broken down, that's a disaccharidase. Okay, and next one is nuclease, not nuclease. Nucleic acids are broken down into nucleotides and nucleosides, no, that's why nucleosidase. Okay, these are the enzymes in the succus entericus. Okay, so here also in small intestine, as usual, as like in gastric gland, same here also in small intestine, mucus and bicarbonate ions which are present in the pancreas. From pancreas it will come, bicarbonate and mucus, that protect the intestinal mucosa from acid. Okay, I told you here only, I told you where it is. I think I should go very back. Okay, here mucus and bicarbonates. Okay, mucus and bicarbonate ions will be released into duodenum. These are alkaline to neutralize the acidic thing coming from the gastric. Okay, so next one is here, wait, so here, where we were discussing mucus and bicarbonates from pancreas protect the intestinal mucosa from acid and provide alkaline medium. Alkaline medium, see, quickly revise once again. In the intestine 7.8 is there. Okay, in the mouth 1.8 and in the stomach 6.8 and in the intestine 7, see, in the stomach 1.8, in the stomach 1.8 and in the in the mouth 6.8 will be there. See, in the mouth 6.8 and in the stomach 1.8 and now in the intestine 7.8. See, quickly recall, in the mouth 6.8, in the stomach 1.8 and in the intestine 7.8. Okay, submucosa, I already told this thing also. In the small intestine, in the duodenum, in submucosa one gland will be there, that is Brunner's gland, that also helps in protection of intestinal mucosa thing. Okay, breakdown of, okay, this is let us discuss what are the breakdowns occurs in the small intestine. So the dipeptides which are broken down by the pancreatic enzyme, that will be broken down by the dipeptidase enzyme into the least thing, that is amino acids, protein to amino acids. and maltose. These are all carbohydrates, okay? The broken down form: maltose, maltase, glucose and glucose, lactose, lactase, glucose and galactose, sucrose, sucrase, glucose and fructose, okay? So this is a protein, carbohydrate, nucleic acid and fat. In nucleic acid, nucleotides are there. See, nucleosides, no? Nucleotides will be broken down into nucleosides by nucleotidase, and nucleosides will be broken down into sugar and bases by nucleosidase. And di and monoglycerides, which are there here in the presence of lipases, will be broken down into fatty acid and glycerol. These are the ultimate simple absorbable substances. So this is the ultimate thing. Breakdown of biomacromolecule, where big breakdown occurs in the duodenum. Breakdown occurs. Simple substances are absorbed in jejunum and ileum, highly coiled and absorbable, okay? Undigested and unabsorbed substances will go into large intestine. Large intestine have no significant activity. See, simple activity is absorption of some water which is left, minerals if are left, certain drugs are there, then it will absorb large intestine. And it also secretes little bit mucus, means it secretes the mucus. Why? Undigested particles are there, no, it will adhere and form, it will be adhere means all the particles will adhere together, and that will lubricate, mucus will lubricate for easy passage. So this is all about the digestion, okay? This is all about the digestion. Little bit more is there, but you got an idea what kind of enzymes are acting in the mouth, stomach, intestine, by the pancreatic juice and by the intestinal juice, that is succus entericus. In the bile no enzymes are there, lipase little bit activated, but majorly no enzymes are there. So first, this is just overview, not so important. Undigested food, now we have to learn, no, till the ejection through the posterior opening, we can't leave it in between. So that's why undigested food, that is feces, in large intestine it goes to cecum through ileocecal valve. I have told you before. Why? To prevent the backflow of the fecal matter into the duodenum, jejunum and ileum, okay? And next, it will go to the cecum and temporarily stored in the rectum till defecation. Till defecation it will be stored. GIT activities are there, no, all the churning, all the activities, it is under neural control and hormonal control. See, now sight of the food, oral smell of the food, or presence of the food in the oral cavity, of course it will secrete the saliva. Saliva will be secreted, gastric juices and intestinal juices also will be secreted just by this sight, smell and presence. Now, muscular activity of the alimentary canal. Muscular activity means turning movement, peristalsis, all that deglutition, everything are by what? Neural mechanism. It is all controlled by neural mechanism through local or CNS. Now, hormonal control of the digestive juices. Digestive juices should be secreted. No, it is controlled by hormonal control, by local hormones, okay? From gastric and intestinal mucosa through local hormones, it will be secretion of digestive juices will occur. See, this is not there in NCERT, just for an idea. I am just telling, it is not at all important, but just have an idea. Hormones like gastrin will be there, secretin will be there, cholecystokinin will be there, gastric inhibitory peptide will be there. First, gastrin means what? The name itself it is saying increases the gastric secretion. Gastric inhibitory peptide means what? It is decreasing the gastric secretions, no? And secretin means in pancreas it releases the bicarbonate and H2O, okay? Cholecystokinin means it acts on the pancreas and gallbladder. In pancreas, pancreatic enzymes will be released, In gallbladder, bile release will be there. This is the hormonal control of GIT. Just have a look. Now digestion process is completely completed. Okay, now it's about absorption of digested products. Now only few more slides, not few more, just two slides are left. So we are almost end to our whole chapter in one shot. So let us complete this quickly. Absorption of digested products. What is this absorption of digested product? End product of digestions means all the digested products, means simple absorbable forms are there. Amino acids, glucose, fructose, galactose, lactose, all that. Triglycerides, all that will be released into the blood or lymph. End products of digestion through mucosa of the intestine. All this will be nearer to the mucosa of the intestine and will be released into the blood or lymph. Okay, how this absorption process will take place? This absorption process will take place by active absorption and passive absorption. Active absorption means what? ATP use will be there, and passive absorption is no ATP use will be there. ATP use means against the osmotic gradient. Against the osmotic gradients means low concentration to high concentration. Low concentration to high concentration it is going. That's why energy expenditure it should do. Now see, high concentration to low concentration, no energy expenditure will be needed because it is natural process. It will be going by itself. Now low concentration to high concentration against the osmotic gradient means energy is required. So this is active process, and next is passive process. Passive process, simple diffusion, and facilitated diffusion means proteins are involved in diffusion. Simply it will be going, energy expenditure is not there, but proteins are there. So you have to remember these names. In NCERT is clearly mentioned all about this, only half page is there. So active process, in everything you can see glucose and amino acid is common in active process, in simple diffusion, in facilitated diffusion. And in active process you can see Na plus is there. In simple you can remember plus means active, Na plus, and chloride, simple diffusion, simply it is going negatively. And glycerol and fatty acid means fat contents are also going by simple diffusion in soluble forms. And facilitated diffusion you can see F for fructose. Okay, glucose and amino acid is common in all. Now so this is the transport of water. Water depends on osmotic gradient. Okay, but you see this glycerol and everything will go through their own processes like active, simple diffusion, facilitated diffusion. But glycerol and fatty acid, what they have a process. This is so important process, you have to remember. These are fats, they are insoluble, they can't absorb easily. That's why they will be incorporated into small droplet. These fats will be incorporated into small droplet, that is micelles. Okay, it will be incorporated micelles, and it will be going near the intestinal mucosa, and micelles will go away. Okay, and what happens, small droplets are micelles, and this fatty acid now will be coated with the small protein coated fat globule, that is called chylomicron, and it will be going into the lymph vessel, that is lacteal. I told you, lacteal in the villi, and that will be released into blood. See, simply I will just explain. Yeah, fatty acids and glycerol is insoluble. Actually these are matching, that's why you can't differentiate. Okay, fatty acids and glycerol are insoluble, that's why they will be incorporated by the small droplet, that is called micelle, and it will go near the intestinal mucosa. Till intestinal mucosa it will go in the form of micelle, and here this micelle will go off, and this fatty acid now will be incorporated by the small protein coat, that is called chylomicron. Now this chylomicron, in the small intestine, villi are present, right? And in villi lacteal is there. So chylomicron will directly be absorbed in the lacteal. Through lacteals it will be released into the blood. Yeah, that's it. This is what it is. Okay, so this is the last part. Here there is nothing more to remember. Just remember, in mouth what all absorptions will occur. Certain drugs will be absorbed, and in stomach you can remember, you just take a water bottle, in that alcohol you add, alcohol, sugar you mix, water you mix. So these absorptions will be occurring. Water, sugar and alcohol. Small intestine is a principal organ for absorption, all these absorptions will be occurring. And in large intestine also, water, minerals and drugs. Here water, sugar and alcohol, water, mineral and drug. Okay, one more small thing, assimilation. What is assimilation? The absorbed substances are there, the substances which are absorbed into the blood, released into blood. Okay, the absorbed substances reaches the tissue. Here it reaches the tissue and utilizes them. Tissue utilizes the absorbed substances for their activity. It is called as assimilation. Okay, now digested waste. Waste is there. No, waste should be removed through the rectum and anus. So it solidifies into coherent feces. It becomes solid into coherent feces in the rectum. If neural reflex is initiated, there will be urge to remove through the anal canal. That is called defecation. This is assimilation, this is defecation, and defecation is a voluntary process, not involuntary, by mass peristaltic movement. Okay, so we came to an end with all the parts of the digestive tract, digestive glands, and mucosal layer, means that tiers of the alimentary gut, and the digestion of the food in the mouth, stomach, intestine by the pancreatic juice, by the intestinal juice, and then absorption of the finally is disorders. See, it is so simple and easy thing, no more complex. Digestive system disorder, inflammation of the digestive tract by bacterial, viral, okay, caused by parasites. This will be there, tapeworm, roundworm, thread hook, pinworm. Okay, by that there will be inflammation of the digestive tract and causes disorders of digestive system. So these are the disorders like jaundice, vomiting, indigestion, diarrhea and constipation. See, one by one it is so simple. Jaundice means what? Liver is affected, that's why skin, the bile pigments will be there, which should be released through the feces and the urine, which gives yellow color. So the liver will be affected and that process won't occur. The deposition of bile pigments will occur, that's why skin and eyes will become yellow. And next, vomiting. Vomiting means what? Ejection of stomach contents through the mouth. Of course, you might have also experienced how it occurs. First, you will be feeling of nausea. First, nauseatic feeling will be there. After that, vomiting occurs. Okay, this reflex action is controlled by vomit center. Vomit center in the medulla. Vomit center is there. Vomit center is present. It reflex action is controlled by vomit center in the medulla. Next one is indigestion. Indigestion means the name itself, food is not properly digested, leads to fullness. Fullness will be there, food also not properly digested. What are the reasons? Anxiety, food poisoning, spicy food, overeating, inadequate enzyme secretion. Okay. Next one is diarrhea. Diarrhea means, abnormal frequency of bowel movements. More number of abnormal frequency. Many times bowel movement will occur, and that's why liquidity of the fecal discharge. Liquid fecal discharge occurs when abnormal frequency of bowel movement is occurring. Absorption of food will be less because it is occurring many times, and that's why liquidity also will be there. That diarrhea's opposite is constipation. Constipation means feces will be retained in the colon. In the colon only the feces will be retained. Bowel movement is irregular. Irregular is there only less time, only few time. That's why this will be retained, and it will be not liquid, okay, because it will be so hard, and will be retained in the colon and won't pass down. Okay. Next, last topic is PEM. PEM is protein energy malnutrition. Energy means calorie, protein energy malnutrition means dietary deficiency of carbohydrates and protein. You know this from beginning. Two are there, marasmus and kwashiorkor. Marasmus means it occurs in less than 1 year. Kwashiorkor means more than 1 year. You can remember every time. I think people will be having difficulty in remembering which is protein deficiency, which is carbohydrate and protein deficiency. Even I also confused many times, but my teacher told me a mnemonic, that is PK means Pavan Kalyan. Pavan Kalyan means protein and kwashiorkor. PK, Pavan Kalyan, protein deficiency will be in kwashiorkor, and deficiency of protein and carbohydrate will be in marasmus. See, everything will be same. In marasmus you can see thinning of limbs will be there, emastication of the body will be there, growth will not be there, and skin will be dry and thin, wrinkled, brain development will be impaired. Here also same, wasting of muscles, thinning of limbs, impaired brain development. But edema will be there in kwashiorkor. That's why pot belly will be noticed in the kwashiorkor. Okay, pot belly. What is the reason? In marasmus, these two deficiency will be there because mother's milk will be replaced with other supplementary food, because second pregnancy will occur. That's why this deficiency will occur. Why kwashiorkor occurs? Replacement of the mother's milk with high calorie. Calorie deficiency is not there. High calorie and low protein. That's why protein deficiency will occur. This is all about PEM and all about thank you. And so this is the end of digestion and absorption. Every line from NCERT I took, and I have inserted in this PDF of 21 slides. Everything, if you read this PDF and if you have listened to my lecture, I think it will be very easy to read the NCERT now. You can easily read it within 15 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes. Easily you can read, and all the best.